So the weather in New England's the weirdest thing. It could be, freezing one day and then it could be swelteringly hot the next day, 85 degrees. I'm just kidding, it's freezing cold out. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to The Shed. I'm Josh, and today we're going to be talking about the third life change that I'm going to be adding in 30 days as part of this 30-day challenge. And that is going to be a sort of self-improvement based change. If you look at the changes that I've made so far, the first one was sort of a productivity-based change, and the second one was obviously dietary. And today we're going for self-improvement. And by that, I mean we're talking about reading, specifically reading for 30 minutes a day, no more, no less. The reason I say that is because I'm trying to work on compartmentalizing the goals that I want to achieve every day and sort of like align, or I should say assign a specific amount of time for each goal. And if I spend too much time on one goal, even if it does seem like sort of an improvement because I'd obviously be reading more than I planned to, it's most likely going to eat into the time that I set up for another goal to be accomplished. And so, especially as this challenge goes forward over the course of 30 days, I'm obviously going to need more and more time sort of partitions in every day to achieve the goals that I want to achieve, unless of course they're super simple or, there's something that can be done passively sort of in the background. So the book that I have chosen to start with is this guy right here. It is Neil deGrasse Tyson's Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. I actually picked this up while I was on the road about a week ago. It was at an airport bookstore. I grabbed it. I figured I like astrophysics. I like Neil deGrasse Tyson most of the time. He can be a little nuts sometimes. And I mean that in like a hyper talking over Joe Rogan kind of way. If you know what I mean, then you know what I mean. And if you don't, that's fine. But I picked it up because I figured, it's right in the title, For People in a Hurry. Why not give it a shot? And I was actually surprised of how much of the book I got through in one evening of sort of plane travel. I have a lot of difficulty reading, not necessarily because I'm a slow reader, but because I need the right material that I can really get into. And also I'm very easily distracted if there are sudden noises around me, or if there's a lot of commotion going on, or if there are visual cues passing in front of my eyes. I can't sort of just keep my head down on the book and focus. And so you'd think an airplane, a lot of noise, a lot of motion going on, random lights turning on and off, announcements, wouldn't be a great sort of situation environment for somebody who had to deal with those kind of distractions. But I was able to get through, I want to say more than half of the book. It's almost 200 pages, and I read somewhere around 120, I think. And I enjoyed it. I wasn't just like skimming. I can't speed read. I'm not one of those people that can just like, run your eyes over a page and move on. I actually have to read every word, and sometimes I even pause and try to sort of soak up what it is I just read. I tend to read a lot more, I don't want to say difficult books because that's kind of an opinionated type thing, but I read a lot of psychology, psychiatry books, books on philosophy, books on science, theory, things like that. I don't political sort of like poli-sci type stuff, current affairs. And it's funny because if you look at the types of films and shows and even like comics, I know that's kind of a pigeonholed one, but if you look at the type of stuff that I watch normally, it's all science fiction and fantasy. I'm not really big into I don't know, like history documentaries, or I like documentaries, but not so much history, not so much politics, none of that stuff. I mean, I have a pretty eclectic viewing like variety, but it's not something that I would say really leans in the direction of nonfiction. And so it's interesting that my reading habits tend to go completely in the opposite direction. When I pick up a fiction or a science fiction book, I generally have a lot of trouble getting into it. And I don't know if it's because I like those things because of the visuals, although I have a very vivid imagination. So you would think whatever I'm reading, I can just picture in my head, and I often do. But for some reason, I have trouble getting into science fiction and fantasy books or fiction books in general. And I do much better with them on tape, on audiobooks. I'm specifically not allowing myself to use audiobooks for this because the whole point is to get better at reading a physical book, as well as to obviously gain new knowledge and learn new things. That's always the best part of reading, for me anyways. But yeah, so that is the challenge that I am adding today, and hopefully we'll be able to stick with it every day going forward. As you can see, it's eating up now a half an hour chunk. I'm already using an hour to, I want to say an hour to an hour and a half doing the videos. Actually, when you include filming and then editing and uploading, it's more like an hour and a half to 2 hours for the videos. On top of the fact that I obviously work a full-time job, I sometimes have to travel for work. Actually, quite often, I have a 5-month-old son and a wife and animals and a home to take care of and a commute to work. I mean, when you factor it all together, you can see that I'm slowly going to start to run out of time, which sort of leads to another change that I'm going to be adding, but I'm not going to get too much into that right now. So yes, that is the challenge, reading for 30 minutes a day, no more, no less, from a physical book, not using audiobooks. And just trying to get better at reading and learn some new stuff in the process. So thanks for checking this video out today, guys. I hope if you haven't yet, you like, comment, and subscribe down below. Subscribing is the best way to make sure that you don't miss any of the following changes or challenges that are going to come up on this channel, as well as any of the other videos that I post in between, if I somehow come up with extra time to do so. But yeah, I hope you guys have a good one, and I will see you tomorrow.